So over the past couple of years, I've really wanted to check out quite a few games and I just haven't got around to it for whatever reason. Well, I recently thought, I know, I want to pick up some games for myself to play this year. Some are based on recommendations from friends, some are based on just things that I've seen and thought, hey, that looks cool, I want to check it out. And in today's video, we're just going to go through the games that I picked up. But let me know down in the comments below what games you checked out in this video that you think are fantastic, if they're good, if they're bad. Let me know. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. But until then, let's get into the video. So first up, we're going to have a look at what I'm going to plan on playing on my Steam Deck, because I picked up quite a few games. I was also gifted a few games over the Christmas period. So we're going to have a look into that. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Abe's Odyssey collection, okay? So this is a bundle of games that I managed to pick up from Humble Bundle. My buddy John Chicken Fillets mentioned to me that they were doing like this super sale deal on there for like 4 or 5 of the Odyssey games, including the latest one. And I thought, you know what? It's been a hot minute since I played any of those games. And I remember growing up loving at least the first game. I don't remember playing too many of the others, but it's got all of them on there. The remake, the new and tasty that came out a few years ago, and the most recent one, Soulstorm. So I'm really excited to get into that. Another one he recommended to me was a game called Jack Move. Now, this game, I believe, is kind of new. He's reviewed it over on his channel, so go check that out. But it's supposed to be a good game, so I'm planning on checking that out. Apparently, it's super short. It's got the 16-bit style, you know, modern indie game feel. It looked really cool. I quite like the premise of it, so I decided to pick that up pretty cheap as well. And then just to finish the trilogy of John's recommendations, he actually gifted me his favorite game. And do you know what? For a guy that does a channel about JRPGs, you don't half love his Planet Coaster. He did it so much so that he gifted me a copy of the game to play on Steam. Now, am I going to play it? I don't know. A lot of these games in this list I plan on playing like this year. I don't know if I'm going to get around to that one, to be truthfully honest with you. He's a bad lad and he loves his Planet Coaster. Go. So just before Christmas, they released the devs who made and had part of the Tomb Raider trilogy that came out also had a part in making a remake of Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain 1 and 2. Now again, this was a PlayStation 1 game that I played when I was younger. I never got really around to the PlayStation 2 one, and it just seemed like a no-brainer. They've remastered this game. They've upscaled all the pixels. It looks absolutely fantastic. And I thought, you know what? I would love to get back into this series. It's got that dark, gothic-y sort of fantasticness. Do you know what I mean? It looked really cool. I'm going to check it out. And it hasn't come out physically, so I picked it up on Steam. Although I'm hoping that they do like they did with the Tomb Raider series, and they actually release this on some sort of physical media, because I'm a physical guy. Next up, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this on the channel, but when we started this channel, it wasn't just me and Graham. There was another absolute stellar legend called Chris, and unfortunately he went off and he did his thing, and that's absolutely fine. But for Christmas, he gifted me a few games he's been going on about for a little while that everybody should play, and that is Hollow Knight. Now, I've not really checked out Hollow Knight. I've not looked into it. I don't know a great deal about it. However, I do know that a lot of people adore this series. So it was quite fitting to sort of say, yeah, let's check this game out. So I really appreciate him grabbing that for me. Now, he knows I'm a fan of Doom as well, and one of the games that is sort of Doom-esque, if you like, it's got a very similar vibe to that, is Metal Hellslinger. Now, again, I've kind of heard of this game, but I've never got around to checking it out. Apparently, the soundtrack is phenomenal, so that's something I'm also looking forward to because I love video game music. It looks really cool, so I'm excited to jump back into that one and check it out. The last one he got me, he's a bit of a tyrant when it comes to this sort of stuff. He loves his Souls games, and he told me the Neo is a kind of Souls-like game. I don't actually hear too many people talking about it. So if that game is like something that you've played or something that you love, let me know down in the comments below. Although it could be probably a little bit hateful. No, if it's a Souls game, it's going to be hateful. Another game that was gifted to me this Christmas was from my good friends Kenzie and Bob, and they actually gifted me Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Now, again, I don't know a hunk about this game. I don't know loads, but it looks quite cutesy. It's kind of got like a Zelda-y sort of vibe to it. I know there are little black blobs in the game. I don't know the context of that. I kind of haven't really looked into it too much, but it looks like a really cool game. So I'm excited to check this out on my Steam Deck. If you guys know anything about this game, if you agree that this is a fantastic game, please let me know. But I'm excited to play it anyway. It's going to be a good time, I'm sure. Next up, and probably the last of the gifted games that I got on Steam, were from my good buddy over at Retro Brandon. If you don't know him, go check him out. He's a stellar dude. He gifted me 2 fantastic JRPGs for Christmas. And again, both games I've been meaning to check out for a little while. The first one on that list is Dragon Quest XI. Now, this game has actually been a game that I wanted to check out for the longest time. I've been told by friends, you need to go check this game out. It is fantastic. It is a big deal. It's like, I know people saying, you know, this is the greatest JRPG that's come out in donkey's years. And I know there's a big following for the Dragon Quest scene. So I have played my fair share of Dragon Quest games, but I've never got into this one. So I am very excited. I know there was a demo, and the demo was about 10 hours long. And you can get that on PlayStation, you can get that on Switch. So that's definitely something that you probably should go check out. I just haven't got around to it. I don't know why. But this is the year where I start making excuses and start playing video games. So I want to thank Retro Brandon for gifting me that. And the other game that he gifted me, and I feel like a heathen even saying this because I love the Final Fantasy series, but Final Fantasy 4, I've never actually played it. And I don't know if I'm outing myself here or, you know, people are going to come at me or whatever, but either way, I haven't played it. He gifted me the After Years collection, which is like not a remake, but they added quite a lot of content in. And there is a copy on the PSP that I do actually own. So again, I'm in trouble here. I know someone's going to say something about that, but either way, I'm going to play that game this year. That is definitely on my list of games that I need to play this year. So that kind of is all the Steam games that I'm planning on playing this year. My next purchase was Space Marine 2. Now, I had to buy this game because Graham had played it on his PC and he was just going bananas about it. He was saying about how great it was. I've heard other friends saying about it too, just saying it's a really quality, good game. So I picked this up just before Christmas and I bought Graham a copy also on the PlayStation 5 so that we could play through this campaign together. I can confirm it's a short story. I think we both did the co-op in just under 10 hours, but it's fantastic. If you like games like Gears of War, you're going to absolutely adore this game. It's brilliant. And you know what? For such a short story, it hit everything. It's just short and sweet. I know there's a lot of like after the main gameplay stuff you can do, and we haven't done that stuff yet. But I totally enjoyed this game. We literally, he got it for Christmas and we completed it pretty much soon after, and it's just fantastic. One of the games that I actually grabbed off Graham as well is something that I'm hoping to do in an upcoming project. It is a game that I absolutely love, and I remember playing this as a kid. And that is Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive, or Genesis for you guys over in the States. So this game is just a really fun run and gun shooter type game. And I bought this off Graham pretty cheap because I don't know how well you're going to see this on camera, but it is a little bit dinged up. It looks a little bit grubby. It looks a little bit worn out and faded. So I am hoping to restore this to its former glory. So I am going to be picking up a shell for this probably and seeing if I can get a label replacement and just put this back into my collection because it's a really fun game. If you haven't played Mega Turrican, it is a lot of fun. And also, just on the Turrican love, I will say I love the Game Boy game too. That was another thing that I played the heck out of as a kid. So yeah, very happy to have Mega Turrican in my collection. Next is a supposed JRPG that I've never actually seen or played, and I went into a game, I believe I was up in Scotland with John when I purchased this, Mr. Chicken Fillets, and this game was just cheap. It was going for cheap. I saw the words JRPG or RPG on the back of it, and I thought, it's worth a punt. It was, I know I definitely paid under £10 for this. It was cheap and cheerful. I just thought, it's worth a shot. It seems like a cool game. I'm not too sure because of THQ Nordic being on the front of it, but hey, we'll give it a go. I've not really looked into it. I've not seen any gameplay of it. I've not really heard anybody talking about it, but ultimately this is something I want to check out, so I picked that up. Next up is a lot of people, man. A lot of people were talking about this game for like the longest time, and I absolutely adore it, and it's the Astrobot series. Me and my son have been playing through this game, and it is just, oh man, do you know what? It's like everyone goes on about like Mario and stuff like that, and it's nice to see that Sony have released a game that it just absolutely nails it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so far from what I've played, it's a 10 out of 10. And what I love about this game is not only the fact that me and my son have been playing through it together, it's the fact that like the graphics are really fun, the music's really fun, the levels are really fun. The DualSense really makes this game sometimes as well, because like you'll be skating on something, or be walking on sand, or all that kind of stuff, and you can feel it through the controller. And it is just a major nod to like old school PlayStation games. You can get little characters in there. Again, we haven't done a great deal of this, but we've maybe played a few hours together. So I don't know exactly what characters are in this, but we found some absolutely incredible characters so far. So I'm excited to play this some more with my son. So yeah, very happy to have picked that up finally. Another game that I picked up and bought it as soon as I heard about it was Ys, the Oath in Forgana. Now, for you guys that may have seen our Portland trip over to the US, I was hunting for this game high and low, and I managed to find a copy of the game. Like, it was just the case. There wasn't any cover on the case. It was just the case in the game. And I managed to end up getting the collector's edition. So it seemed only fitting that I picked up the collector's edition of Ys Oath in Forgana on the PS5. I've got it on the PSP, and I've played through it quite a few times since I got it. So I'm excited to kind of go back and play through the story once again, getting to go with Adult and Dogi and check out exactly what's been going on and what they've updated in this. It's actually, at this present moment in time, it's probably one of my favorite Ys games. I mean, Ys 8 is fantastic, but this one, I don't know, this just hits me a little bit different. So I would recommend, if you guys are interested, go check out this game. It is fantastic. As we're still on the Ys train, I also grabbed Ys 10 for Christmas. This was a gift from my wife, and oh my god, did she nail it. She got me the collector's edition of Ys 10 Nordics, and I am so excited to play this game. This game is more of a prequel. If you want to get into the Ys games, it doesn't really matter what games you're playing. I think it's only Ys 1 and 2 that are actually connected. The other ones I don't believe are. They're all kind of in the same world, along the same timeline, but you don't have to play one to know what's going to happen in the other. They're all set in different parts, and I believe this part is like just before they get to the Silseta Island. So for anyone that may have played that game, you know, this is basically comes before it. There's some new mechanics in this that they've introduced, and I've only just started it, so it's all very fresh and new, and I'm sort of just working my way through the prologue really, but I am so glad that I've got this, and to get the collector's edition as well, it's really cool. So the next game on the list is actually one that a lot of people have been telling me I've got to play, and they've been highly recommending it, and it's like massive in the JRPG community, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 1. So I picked this up on the recommendation of quite a few people.
Well, it's about time you finally played some Peak Fiction, James.
Hey, listen here, buddy. You haven't even played the best JRPG ever out there, which is Final Fantasy VII. Like, seriously, come on, man. What are you doing? You haven't played Final Fantasy VII. Why don't you play Final Fantasy VII and I'll play Xenoblade? How about that?
Okay then, deal. I'll tell you what, if you play Xenoblade Chronicles, I will play a Final Fantasy game. How does that sound?
It sounds absolutely amazing, but I can tell you something now. There's one person who's not going to be happy about this.
John, aka Chicken Fillets, here. Now, I've been trying to get Upper Nimbus to play Final Fantasy VII for the longest time, and then he does this little thing with James, and it's like, you play Xenoblade and I'll play Final Fantasy. Just play Final Fantasy, Upper Nimbus, come on!
So next up on the list is a game that I really wanted to play, and that is Lego Horizons. This is the Lego Horizons Zero Dawn adventure game that's come out. I picked it up on Nintendo Switch purely just so that we could all play it, me, my wife, and my son. This gives us the ability to sort of just swap and change rather than, whatever. So yeah, this series is really fun. I don't know if any of you guys are big Horizon fans out there. I am a big fan. My wife enjoyed the games too, and my son just enjoys Lego, so it just seemed like the perfect game for us all just to hang out and play and check out together. So you can never go wrong with a Lego game. They're always fun. They're always good fun. Another recommendation that has been given to me on numerous occasions is this indie game, and that is Crosscode. There are quite a few people out there that are big fans of this game. It's an indie game. There's a lot of puzzles in it. I haven't looked too much on it. I've seen a couple of people reviewing it, just talking about how amazing this game is. So it felt like it was time to finally jump in to Crosscode. And one of my friends is a bit obsessed with this game. I mean, has a bit of a problem.
Oh, hi. Oh, it's nothing. I'm just rubbing this really hard because I love it so much. In fact, I love it so much, I'd rather be alone with it. So, bye.
Do you see what I mean? He likes it a little bit much. Next up on the list is actually another JRPG that I want to check out, and this one I have been waiting for a physical for. Now this one came up on Amazon, and it was quite a good deal. So this is one that I've been putting off for a little while, and I thought, no, I need to actually go through this game. It is absolutely supposed to be, incredible. And then there are people out there that say it's, was a bit of a letdown. It had all the promise, and I just kind of want to check it out for myself. So that is Sea of Stars. And yeah, I mean, it looks sort of like Chrono Trigger and games like that. And I've heard that the soundtrack's supposed to be incredible. And again, very mixed reviews on it. And I kind of just want to check it out and see what this game actually has to offer, because I've heard the soundtrack for this, and the soundtrack is actually banging. There's zero issue in the soundtrack. I mean, it's got to be worth that alone, right? Right, now my next two games, I'm completely putting on Fem Trooper, because some of her content recently, she's been talking about these games, and, it just had to be done. So the first game that I picked up was Kakarot, which I know also Eric Ladd has been playing through recently, and it's just the Dragon Ball Z story, basically, in a sort of JRPG form. It looks bright, it looks colorful, and I mean, it's Dragon Ball Z. For anyone that knows Dragon Ball Z and loves Dragon Ball Z, they say this game is pretty faithful to the source material. And yeah, I just kind of want to check it out. And I mean, Dragon Ball games are always fun. I enjoy playing them. I'm excited to check out Kakarot, so that's good. And the other one that she kind of took, well, she didn't directly say buy this game, you gotta buy this game. But I'm definitely intrigued to check this game out because it just looked cool. And she said actually it got a bit of a bad rap. That was her review of it. It got a bit of a bad rap. There are things to dislike in the game, but actually it's pretty fun. And do you know what? It's dirt cheap, and that is Forspoken. So again, I got this off Vinted. I think I paid, I don't know, £5 for that. It wasn't expensive at all. And it's a Square Enix game. Square Enix made it. And I love Square Enix. So yeah, didn't need a lot of convincing. But that was the game that I wanted to check out. And I just thought, you know what? I don't know what the history of it is. I don't know if it was a broken mess when it came out. I don't know what the crack was with it, but people apparently just did not like this game. So I'm excited to see if it's good or bad. Let me know down in the comments below. Is it good or bad? Have you played this game? Now, the last thing on my list is a big purchase. And do you know what? Recently, I've been thinking a lot about getting back into the whole VR scene. So I was kind of looking at what the options were. I was thinking, do I go for a PlayStation VR 2? Do I go for a MetaQuest? Do I go for what do I go for? And eventually I kind of settled on buying the MetaQuest. This was a good purchase. I am very happy that I grabbed this. So this is the MetaQuest 3S, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to get back into VR gaming. There are some VR games that have come out recently that I'm like, yeah, I want to play that. One of which is Resident Evil 4 Remake. That had a VR part in it that I wanted to check out. And there is also a Ghostbusters game that oh man, you just get to play as a Ghostbuster. So I was like, yeah, I need to pick this up. There are a lot of fun VR games out there, but is that something that you guys are interested in? Should I talk about this VR headset a little bit more? I'd be intrigued to know. But there were a handful of games that made me feel like, yeah, I want to pick this out. So I picked up the MetaQuest. It's purely for the portability aspect. Again, I'm all about portability. So I was quite happy to pick that up. And I've played through, so far, I've only played through Beat Saber, because that game, I mean, I just, you can't not have a VR headset without Beat Saber. It's kind of like the lore, I think. But yeah, Ghostbusters, absolutely amazing. And it also turns out that's cross-compatible as well. So if you've got a friend who's got a PSVR 2 or whatever, you can play with them on the same... me and Grim have had some fun, let me tell you.
Oh, let me bonk you. Bonk. Bonk.
So yeah, and I haven't picked up Resident Evil 4 yet, but that is definitely on my list of games. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Is VR gaming a thing you're into? Do you know any games that I should be looking at for the MetaQuest? Let me know. So that is basically my pickups, my recommendations. That's all the bits and pieces for everything that I've kind of been looking at. So bit of a long video, I know, a bit longer than usual. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway and you stuck around to the end. If you did stick around, maybe consider liking and subscribing to us. Myself and Graham do lots of different things on the channel. We've got lots of big things coming in 2025, so keep an eye on that. And I just want to thank everyone for watching. This has been a fun video. Take it easy.